Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor. This is our weekly TV news show. We of course talk about the week's TV news, new shows in development. This time of year in particular, there's a lot of pilot orders. There'll be a lot of those this week. There was a lot last week. In fact, there was like 6 right after we stopped recording last week, so those are obviously in here this week. But we also tell you what's coming up on the channel, what we've already reviewed this week, if there's anything new, anything that ended, that kind of thing. And at the end of the show, we pick our favourite episode of TV of the week. So that's what we do. It's worth mentioning, actually, we're recording this a day earlier than usual. And the reason for that is because of something that's coming up this week. Usually it's because there's a Netflix show hitting on the Friday, which is happening this week, and that is Altered Carbon is launching. So we'll be reviewing that starting tomorrow, roughly going one per day.
Looking forward to it. They've been advertising the shit out of it, which is rare for Netflix with a TV show in my experience.
Yeah, I'm excited. Slightly cautious.
Yeah. I'm concerned it'll feel a bit Blade Runner-y, for lack of a better term.
I'm okay with it feeling like Blade Runner, except for plot.
Well, no, that's what I mean. In like the idea that everything about this should be perfect for me, but I don't know, it doesn't quite add up.
But that's also true of Blade Runner, and then so I think that's why there's the lingering little worry that the story just won't be that interesting on its own. But there's not really a reason to suspect that. It's just I acknowledge it's just a complete gut feeling that's not really.
Yeah, I've not looked. I know there's been some early reviews out this week. I haven't really looked into them.
Yeah, nothing's justifying that mild concern, but it does look very good, very slick. So we'll be going one a day. Assuming we like it, of course. If we hate the first episode, then maybe not. But that is the plan.
Seems unlikely, but you never know.
But it has been light TV-wise this past couple of weeks. We have a couple of things that we do Sunday, Monday, and then it's quiet until we get to the Shield on a Friday. So it'd be nice to fill that void a little bit with some Altered Carbon during the week. So that is what's coming. But we also have something else starting this coming week before the next news, and that is the 3rd season of Channel Zero.
Is that this week already?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
If my notes are to be believed, then I have no reason to.
I'm sure they are. I mean, I remember it being February.
Yeah.
It snuck up on me. I mean, the fact that it's February snuck up on me. Not gonna lie.
Butcher's Block, I believe, is the title. I'm doing that from memory though, so that may be slightly wrong. Butcher's definitely in the title, but season 3 of Channel Zero, 6 episodes like the past 2, is starting this coming week. So that's what's coming up in terms of new stuff. Nothing finished or anything like that this week, so nothing like that to tell you about.
No, but I mean, coming up this week it's not at the end of it, but Agents of Shield has got just this episode coming up, and then it's on a break. That's
true, yeah. That'll be airing. We'll obviously have a review of that up sometime on Saturday that they normally do. But yeah, that's I guess it's a mid-season finale, but it's not really. It just happens to be that this year the arcs are split into 2 big chunks instead of the 3 little ones.
I mean, it's closest we're going to get to a mid-season with this, because I mean we only had a week off over Christmas.
Yeah, it's just weird because it's not actually. It's mid-season for their show, but it's not mid-season for TV.
The typical time of year, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a weird thing to categorise, but yeah. So Shield's arc ends this week. So yep, there you go. So that's all the sort of updates and stuff. Nothing else to really say. Yeah, so that's that. So we can get into the actual news then. First things first, I'll always put a couple of quick things at the start. Netflix renewed 2 things, neither of which we covered, but I thought it was worth mentioning, especially Suburra, which has been renewed for season 2. That's their Italian original series, so obviously that's done well for them. They've renewed that. And less interesting, but worth mentioning, I think, is Fuller House has been renewed for a 4th season. So that comedy revival that everyone seems to make.
Literally hear no one talk about.
No, I remember when it started, everyone made fun of it. People who knew, had to watch Full House back in the day, kind of joked about how stupid this was. But I've heard nothing since. But apparently,
how's it had 3 seasons already? Like, what? When did that happen? I mean, I know over the past 3 years is the logical answer, but
yeah, I mean,
I feel like I heard about it when season 1 happened, and then nothing.
It's not that much time, really. Cause season 3 probably just aired or went up recently, because it's usually soon after the seasons go up they renew these things. So
no, that's true.
I mean, so really it's only been 2 years.
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
Since season 1 went up, give or take. So, and then next up, Sci-Fi renewed Happy for season 2.
Cool, I guess.
Yeah, we gave up. Didn't like it that much. It was okay, but
Disappointed.
yeah. So yeah, and the other quick thing we got is Amazon are spending big money this week for the Super Bowl spot because they're promoting Jack Ryan, their TV show starring John Krasinski. But they've put the spot up early, which is actually kind of odd. I feel like most companies who are putting trailers and spots up during the Super Bowl like to premiere them on that as the sort of big grand stage and then put them online after.
I get it. You want people to tune in for it. Like, you want to make an event out of it. It makes sense to me. I guess Amazon are going, now we'll put it out. Anyone who's interested, they can go and seek it out. And people who are just watching the Super Bowl anyway, well, here you go. Here's a freebie. You might grab the extras.
Well, it's free anyway, but yeah, I think the core point of it is to inform people who don't know about it yet, which is why they want it on the Super Bowl, because 30+ million people watch the goddamn thing.
Too many. Sports, am I right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I agree with that. I don't give a shit. But so yeah, it actually kind of makes sense to me. I mean, I think the only reason against not releasing the trailers you're going to put on the Super Bowl early is the idea of the ceremony aspect of it, of like premiering it on the Super Bowl. But in reality, when you think about it, okay, the people who care about it will go and find it, but it's really for all the other people who don't know about it. That's what they're really advertising to.
It is. And I guess as well, there are some people, that where they know that certain trailers are going to be on, so that's what they're tuning in for. They're not even watching the game; they're just tuning in for the trailers. And I feel like Amazon are going, do you know what? No one's tuning in just for this.
Yeah, no one's tuning in to see the Jack Ryan trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they also announced the date for it. August 31st is when this is hitting.
That's fine. I mean, a couple of weeks earlier would have been better, but as a general rule, September starts to get into a bit of a busier period.
Yeah, it's not going up at once though, so.
No, it's true.
So we should be. I mean, if we wanted to cover the whole thing, we should be able to get through it before the slate, really. Especially since with the network stuff, we typically don't do a lot of the other stuff now. It's mostly just the CW. So
it's true, but there has been a few more interesting sounding things.
Yeah, we'll see which of those pilots actually go to series before we start to worry, admittedly, but.
Early words, but
yeah, I admit there's been more promising pilots this year from the other networks than there was last. Because last year we did almost none of them.
Yeah, the year before we did everything, and then we nearly died. Bloody MacGyver. Still angry.
That was worth doing for the humour of it, I think. But anyway, so that is the quick stuff. This next one is fairly quick as well, admittedly. But remember the Bad Boys spin-off TV show we're getting?
Yeah, the female one.
Yeah, the sister. Gabrielle Union playing Martin Lawrence's sister.
Yeah.
Ernie Hudson's been cast in it. He's going to play her father in the show.
Alright, cool.
And that's basically it. That's the whole news. There's nothing else.
So they still haven't called it Bad Girls yet?
No, it's still the untitled Bad Boys spin-off. They're still...
Alright, whatever.
I don't think they're going to call it Bad Girls. I feel like if they were going to call it Bad Girls, they'd have just named it that by now.
I think what it is they're desperately trying to come up with something else, and it'll get to the last day, they'll go, screw it, we got nothing else.
Maybe they can't use Bad Girls. Maybe. Yeah, maybe there's a reason why they can't use that. So that they're scrambling, trying to think of some other way to title that kind of ties it to Bad Boys.
Yeah.
How about Bad Gals?
I'm convinced there'll be some variation of that.
If bad's not in the title, they're doing something wrong. They're really doing something wrong. All right. Next up, we got another bit of casting. It's a Netflix show. It's Messiah, which I vaguely remember talking about when they first mentioned it was in development. But it'll chronicle the modern world's reaction to a man who first appears in the Middle East, creating a groundswell of followers around him, claiming he is the Messiah. Mehdi Debi. Or Medai Debai. I apologise. I'm assuming this rhymes, and it might not, but it looks like it rhymes. His name, Medai Debi. I think maybe sounds a bit more right, but he's going to play the role. He's taking the lead role. He's going to star as Al Masih. His character is described as an enigma with a mysterious origins. People are unsure if he's a divine messenger or a political rabble rouser. When he disappears from an Israeli interrogation cell with no explanation, his legend begins to grow.
I'm still kind of into this as a concept.
I think it could potentially be great. It just depends what route they take with it. Entirely, like what is the message the show is actually trying to give us is kind of what largely determines how much I'm going to be into this. If this is going to be an examination of myths and faith and like why people believe things, I could be into that. If it's actually going to go down a path of no, this is actually very like.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming based on everything we've heard, it's going to be people idolizing people, and you know the way that the crowds form around things, not just religion, obviously, although this is using that example, but you know, even things like musicians and actors, the way they get followings.
Yeah. So that's moving along. Certainly a very heavy concept. But so Netflix are not sticking to a comfort zone, which is good. Next up, we have some news about the Watchmen show that's coming. Damon Lindelof, the pilot, of course, was already ordered. This is in and of itself is not huge, and Nicole Cassell is going to direct the pilot. And you're probably saying, who's that? Well, it's worth mentioning because she was one of the directors on The Leftovers. So I thought it was noteworthy that Lindelof is bringing people from Leftovers onto this show, which is a good sign.
Did she do any particularly noteworthy episodes? Not that the direction was ever bad; it was always pretty good. But there were some that stood above the others. No,
it never mentioned any episodes she did it, but it did also mention in the article that she's directed episodes of The Americans, Better Call Saul, and American Crime.
We're in safe hands then.
Yeah, Better Call Saul, of course, is also always very well directed from what I've seen. So that's good. That's good news. Of course, this is a very different show, so I'll be curious to see what the tone is, how it's handled.
Yeah.
But so that's all the quick stuff. We're on to pilot orders. Obviously,
we're banging through it this week.
I know that's going to end up with a short episode. I mean, we made like 90 minutes last week. This can make me a nice brisk episode. I say on page 2 of 10. So, all right. So we're on the comedies, of course, and we will start off with CBS had a lot of orders this week. Now, obviously, they always go at the end for the dramas, but to balance that, they always go first for the comedies. That's my new rule.
This is a very new rule.
And it has nothing to do with me just putting them there and then not wanting to bother moving them. It has nothing to do with that.
I'm glad you said that, because my concern was that you actually have a lot of CBS dramas and you're like, okay, we need to balance this a bit.
That may also be true. Little column A, little column B is what I'm saying. All right, so CBS have greenlit a multi-camera comedy. It's untitled, but it's James Corden is behind.
God, I'm so out.
I don't think he's in it. He's just producing it, I think.
That's fine. I don't like his style of comedy at all, which, if he's a producer, will at least have some influence on, I would assume.
It's his company that are producing it. Written by Tim McAuliffe, who's done Last Man on Earth. I don't think he was the runner on Last Man on Earth, but I think he was one of the writers on it. And Austin Earl, who's been involved in 9JKL. That's that one where I think they changed the title, because I remember it being like more complicated than that, because it was like the 3 apartment numbers.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's what that's meant to be, 9JKL. Maybe they shorthanded it. But anyway, the project settles on a young married couple whose evenings have become comfortable and routine. Their lives are completely upended when a young musician moves into their spare bedroom and brings with him complications of being an up-and-coming mega pop star, sometimes even with the paparazzi. You know what, I'll give them this. That is a bit more unique, because I was expecting, one of their parents has to move in, or their brother or sister has to move in with them, or something. Yeah. But no,
it's still CBS though.
I'm not saying it's going to be good. Look, enjoy just discussing the concepts, Connor.
All right, fine. Look, I don't want to get too excited about a concept where I go, "Oh, that sounds great," because then I'm going, "Oh, I wish this was somewhere else that was actually going to make this better."
But I'm trying to keep things positive, and I want this to be a friendly.
Well, if you want to keep things positive, why did you start with CBS?
Look, I'm not going to say that's not a good point, but shut your face, right? And be nice, goddammit.
Fine, I'll try.
The next pilot, CBS, is another multi-camera comedy. It's called Here Comes the Neighborhood, and it will follow the nicest guy in the Midwest who moves his family to a tough neighborhood in LA where not everyone appreciates his extreme neighborliness. I remember this in development when we were talking about them. Obviously, quite a few of these I remember from the development cycle when we were talking about them, maybe being made into pilots. Some of them I don't know, so I don't know if that's they had some sneaky ones that they didn't publicly talk about, or
maybe we missed some, or Well, I said you missed some collecting them.
I find that hard to believe, given how much I do
No, that's true.
come across.
Alternatively, they're just so boring that we forget because we have 1,000 a week.
That's entirely possible. Next up, CBS pilot order. It's a comedy called Fam. In the show, a woman's dreams of an upstanding life with her new fiancé and his upstanding family are dashed when her younger train wreck half-sister comes to live with her and escape their train wreck of a father. See, that's what I expected in the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, never seen this before.
Alright, and then CBS pilot order called Pandas in New York. Now this sounds like it could be amazing.
It's a fantastic title, I'll give them that.
I basically want friends, but they're all pandas. That's essentially what I'm hoping for here.
I just want a group of pandas in Central Park just going around going, right, where's the bamboo?
Instead, it is a family of Indian doctors with a successful group practice in New York City who embark on a project to arrange their youngest son's life, unaware he's made plans of his own.
Okay. It's not. I'm underwhelmed after the title.
Yeah. I'm not.
It sounds fine. It's another very generic sounding one.
It's a family comedy. They just happen to be doctors and they happen to be Indian. But
Yeah.
other than that, it sounds pretty straightforward. I guess maybe what you'll get out of that though is that when they say arrange, it sounds like they wanted like arrange your son's marriage or whatever. And
that's why I assume.
Yeah. And having just seen The Big Sick, I know there's a lot of potential in that comedy. I don't necessarily trust CBS to be the ones to do that. Big Sick's very good. I recommend it.
It's on my list. Get into it this month.
Me and Matt reviewed it on 121 Overload. Matt picked a good movie. I'm shocked. I know everyone's shocked, but yeah, it was good. Alright, so we're moving over to ABC, still in the comedies. They've put in an order for Most Likely To. I think this is multi-camera. Or it may not be, actually. It may not be. Some of them don't actually specify, and it's hard to be sure.
If it doesn't specify, I think I defer to which network it's on. ABC, I'd assume single camera first. At this point.
Actually, I think it's multi-camera, based on something down with another one. I've got a little factoid about a trend this year on the pilot orders for comedies. Okay. And I think that implies this one is multi-camera, because the next two are single camera. So, this is multi-camera.
Alright.
Written by Diablo Cody, who you may know from Juno or Young Adult.
Someone interesting behind it.
Yeah, you like Juno.
I do. I like Juno a lot.
It follows two former high school classmates. You see what I did there? I mixed the two.
I get it, but I'm gonna laugh and give you shit anyway.
Follows two former high school classmates reunited under odd circumstances in high school. Liz Cooney had everything, and Markay McQueen had nothing. 20 years later, they are reunited under the same roof as single mums and unlikely housemates.
Sounds kind of generic, ultimately, but there's someone interested involved behind the camera.
Well, we say this time and time again with the comedies that usually the concepts hide on neither here nor there. It's like who's writing and who's acting. That's kind of what does it. So this one at least has a name where you're like, oh well, I kind of like them.
It makes me okay. I might want to check this out. Yeah. Whereas just based on the description alone, I'd probably go, okay, it's another one.
I do like the title though. I think the title's a nice.
What was the title again?
Most Likely To. So it's what they've been written in the yearbooks when they're in high school, and one was like really popular and had everything, but now they're both single moms and kind of equal, and so I kind of like the playing the words.
That's nice.
And then next up, ABC. This is a single camera comedy. It's called Single Parents. It follows a group of dysfunctional single parents who lean on each other as they raise their kids, look for love, and ultimately realise that survival is only possible with the help of each other. It is worth mentioning this is co-created with Liz Meriwether, who created New Girl, along with J.J. Philbin.
Okay, cool.
So, that title, on the other hand, is very unimaginative. They've basically just described what the show is. Yep.
It's like, alright, that'll do.
Next up, ABC pilot order, single camera comedy. It's called Steps. It is based on a Swedish show called Bonus Family.
That's a better name.
That's a better name. I want to know. It follows 4 adults in 3 houses who raise their 3 kids after 2 divorces together. Man, that's
Sorry,
like,
that was more complicated than I was expecting.
yeah, that's
Go
like
through that again.
that's trying to follow dark family connections there. It follows 4 adults in 3 houses who raise 3 kids after 2 divorces together. Right, so you get 4 adults, and there's been divorces. I'm going to assume that 2 of the divorcees then became a couple afterwards. So you've got 3 households with 2 single people and 1 couple.
Yeah.
Right, that's my idea.
Okay.
And then between the previous marriages, there was 3 kids. So now that the kids are kind of distributed between them, but I assume they all have to move around because they all have to spend different weekends at different.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is complicated.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to them. That is the most intriguing family sitcom idea I've heard in a while.
Well, it's the first one I've had to think about. So, yeah.
Yeah, so this was a little factoid that was attached to this batch of ABC pilots. Of the 23 sitcom pilots ordered between the big 4 networks, only 8 of them are single camera, including those 2 at ABC. So I think that's, yeah. So, because we always say, oh, single camera is more common now. We've been saying that for a long time. But we've been saying in the last few weeks, man, there's a lot more multi-camera coming from Fox and coming from, like, NBC.
Yeah, we're getting a swing back for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think they're just cheaper. I mean, that may be part of the reason.
They are, definitely. I wonder if it's, something we're getting a lot of revivals as well. Maybe it's like of often that were multi-camera shows. So maybe it's kind of being like, okay,
that's true.
People seem to be in the mood. Let's keep it going.
I think specifically though, Fox and NBC, they're specifically swinging back on new shows though, and I wonder if it's a case of they've had too many failures with single camera, so they're just trying to do the other thing a bit more.
Yeah.
And see how it works out. Even though they've had some success as well, because they've had, the mix been fairly successful for Fox. I think was The Good Life on NBC, or was that ABC? I think it was NBC. But so there's been some success here or there. And ABC, of course, had Speechless, which is very good. So they've had successes there here or there, but for some reason this season they're just multi-camera seems to be the more in thing.
Yeah, which is a shame for single camera comedies that are going still. That maybe they're looking at them going, well, you're more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, come next year when they're thinking about what to renew, it's like, well, this multi-camera is doing almost as many numbers as this single camera show, but it costs like half.
I'm thinking,
the amount.
Especially things like like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which isn't doing amazingly.
Yeah, especially since its 5th season is put into the syndication numbers, therefore it doesn't need to be continued anymore.
Yeah, that's my concern.
This is the thing with TV shows that have about 20 plus episodes, is that when you're on season 4, you're going to end with about 80 episodes or so. They'll probably give it a season 5 just so they're over 100, because that's really good for syndication packages. Yeah. But once they're over season 5, it's like, well, it has to be successful. And if it's before season 4, then, it's more care.
You could go either way, yeah.
So... Aye, so
I'm concerned. I say this, it's on my mind because I've been watching through season 4 lately, and it's so good. I keep forgetting how amazing this show is.
5 seasons is a good run, though.
It's good, but it's just it'd be disappointing.
5 seasons is a pretty good run. I won't be too upset if it ends with 5 seasons in the bank, but
I feel like 5 seasons is a really good run for a drama. When I got 40 minutes, when it's only 20 minutes for a comedy, I want 6, 7.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would too. I'm not saying I wouldn't want that, but I'm not going to be too upset with a 5-season run. No. I can't be too upset by that. Anyway, we're straight over to Fox for their one comedy pilot. At least this week. I think they had a few last week. Yeah, it's called Dan the Weatherman. I like the title.
Good title, yeah.
Single camera, so we're bucking the trend there. And it comes from the life and times of Tim creator Steve Dildarian, which I've never heard of. But
not me either. I assume it's a real thing.
Having a friend named Tim know that title amuses me. Dan the Weatherman centers on the eponymous character. After getting fired from his cushy job as a weatherman at the local TV station, Dan finds it's not enough to be a charming white man in this world. He reluctantly ends up at the neighbouring Spanish TV station.
Okay.
So... yeah, he's the fish out of water. He's
going to do the fish out of water stuff. I'm just trying to see if there's anything more interesting going than just that. I don't know. Sounds all right.
When we say Spanish TV station, are they actually all broadcasting in Spanish? Does he have to is he learning Spanish?
That's the thing. Is it going to be a lot of language jokes because of that?
Maybe I could see him just like sort of like learning like phonetically what he's saying before he goes on to say it because he doesn't understand any of it. And
yeah, the teleprompter's just phonetically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you end up saying things really weird. Which almost sounds like it'll be much funnier if you actually speak Spanish, because we won't even necessarily notice that it sounds stupid.
Yeah, that I think that's a concern. They're going to have to really fragment it up and make it more blatant, so that that you're like, oh yeah, he's getting it wrong.
I feel like a lot of the comedy will be like the planning before the shows and like in the office and like them all making fun of him. I imagine there'll be a running joke where some of them will speak Spanish to each other behind, like when he's there, but he won't understand them.
Oh yeah.
And I almost think that'll be the end of an episode. That'll be like end of episode 5. Is like you'll have learned enough Spanish to like understand the insult they just said about him, and he'll call him out on it. That'll be the.
Do you know what I would really like is if they don't show us subtitles except what he understands.
That could be smart.
I think that would be a good way of doing it. So we don't know what they're saying either, which I mean does take away some potential for comedy. Don't get me wrong, because some of the funny things can come from what they're saying behind his back. But for those moments where okay, he gets that.
But again,
I think
worth mentioning that does not apply if you actually speak Spanish.
It doesn't.
That'll be a different show. I mean, this is assuming they actually go this route. They might not. They might not even. There may be very few actual language jokes in it, but which is maybe why they wouldn't do that, because it would only work for certain segments of the audience. But hey, or maybe they'll do the magical thing and they'll actually make it work in a different way for both audiences, which would actually be really impressive if they pulled that off.
It would. That's a lot harder though.
That's a lot harder, but you strive to be good. You don't just give up and say, no, we'll make the mediocre thing because that's the easy thing to do, unless you're at CBS.
Well, I mean, you're on Fox as well. A lot of their stuff is like, this'll, Fox, we joke consistently, it's buddy cop with a thing. It's like, that's good enough.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying Fox have a good. I'm just saying you don't strive for, if there's a good thing, you want them to go for the good thing.
Yeah, of course, as a viewer.
Yeah, but hey, so we got a Netflix comedy. Actually, we've got a 16-episode series order for a show called The Prince of Peoria. It's a live-action multi-camera comedy. So even Netflix is in the multi-camera business with this, and it's from the Internet Network's Kids and Family division. So, The Prince of Peoria is a coming-of-age vibe for a younger set. When Emil, a 13-year-old prince from a wealthy island kingdom, travels to the US to live incognito as an exchange student, he strikes up an unlikely friendship with Teddy, a fastidious, overachieving boy who's Emil's total opposite. So it's basically Coming to America, but for kids. That's what this sounds like.
Yep, pretty much.
Are you familiar with that movie? Was that a lost reference?
No, I'm familiar with it.
Okay, cool.
Just because I haven't seen a lot of things doesn't mean I don't know what a lot of them are.
Oh, well, it's worth checking. If you don't know what Coming to America is, it was an Eddie Murphy movie from the 80s where he's this like glorious prince and he comes to like New York or whatever, and
Let's be honest, it's all in the title anyway.
I mean, it is, yeah, but so that's the thing. I wouldn't say I'm excited for it, but it's it could end up being good. I don't know if maybe Fuller House is, but I don't know if I've never seen a Netflix multi-camera show before. I'm not sure what the feel is for it. Like, how does it feel like? What's the tone? What's the?
Yeah, I've not seen one either. So, I mean, again, we're not inherently against multi-cameras. No. They can be good. It's just they take a bit more precision, I think, in the timing to get right.
And they typically come with laugh tracks. I wonder if this would come without one.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Since it's Netflix.
I don't know, yeah.
Maybe some of them, I mean, we've got a lot of multi-camera comedies coming from networks, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to have laugh tracks. Like, maybe some of them, will experiment with not having that.
That's true.
Alright, well, that actually brings an end to the comedies, and we have a couple of meaty drama things to talk about. Biggest news story of the week, I think, by far, is another announcement from this DC digital service, which is, announcing shows. So far, we have a live-action Titan show, which they're currently shooting. We've seen some costumes. I actually thought we'd see another one of those photos by now. I thought, because they released 2 a few weeks apart, I was expecting to release another one in January.
Consistent, yeah.
Yeah.
And silence.
Yeah.
Notably, though, they did give us the easier ones first.
That's true. So maybe we'll get some images soon of the other ones. But so we got live action Titan show. We have season 3 of Young Justice, which was announced, animated series. We have an animated series of Harley Quinn that's been announced, so that's coming. And now their second live action show has had a series order for 13 episodes. And what is it, you ask? It is a show called Metropolis. Now, if you tell me that, if you just told me that, I'd be like, oh, I'd be into it. And then you would tell me, but no, Peter, it is a prequel to Superman. And I'd be like, are you shitting me? Are you 10 years of Smallville, we've got Krypton coming out, which is a prequel to Superman. Which is, you know, going to be like ages ago. Which, by the way, can I just point out that the 3 prequel shows are Krypton, Smallville, and Metropolis. They're all locations.
Yeah, they are.
Right? So you tell me that, I'm like, okay, so what's it about? Here's the description, right? Metropolis is set in the famous comic book city before the arrival of Superman. It will follow Lois Lane. Okay. And Lex Luthor. Alright. As they investigate the world of fringe science and expose the city's dark and bizarre secrets. So, I mean, assuming they're not working together. If they are working together, that's kind of weird. But if they're not working together, okay, so they're investigating weird things before Superman goes up. You're being oddly, like...
I'm waiting for you to finish your opinion.
You've been oddly unreceptive to all this. Okay, fine, right? Weird. I don't necessarily want another prequel show, though. It's bizarre. I'm not against a Lois Lane focus show on the Daily Planet, necessarily, but that doesn't necessarily sound what this is.
No.
Right? And they're encountering weird sci-fi things, which my first thought is, oh great, they're going to encounter stuff. They're probably going to encounter villains of Superman before Superman shows up, making Superman's arrival feel, not special, because they've encountered all sorts of crazy aliens and stuff by the time they get there. And then to cap it all off, to cap the bow and the whole thing, it's coming from people who brought you Gotham.
Honestly, that's my only problem with it. Because there's a trap where they could go, okay, we're going to go too into, okay, here's a Superman villain that you've heard of. Okay, if you do that, I don't want that. But the idea of Metropolis before Superman and just following Lois, doing and Lex, that makes sense, doing these things, I'm all down for that. No,
that sounds fine on its own in a vacuum. My problem is this is, being announced as we're about to get Krypton. We've already had Smallville. This has officially made me sick to death of doing Superman without doing Superman. Stop it. I'm sick of it.
See, here's why it doesn't bother me. Because this one, at least from what it's telling us right now, isn't doing Superman. There is no Superman here. It's not Smallville where we're following...
That's the point! There is no Superman.
No, but there's no Clark Kent either, right?
I don't care. Either way, it bothers me. Like, they keep doing Superman-based shows without doing the Superman part. Whether Clark Kent's technically there or not.
But that's the thing. I'm not looking at this as a Superman-based show. I'm looking at it as okay, no, this is a Metropolis, like it says in the title. This is Lois Lane and Lex Luthor. That's not Superman show. Like Smallville was a Superman show, even though it didn't have his name. It was, because it was about him.
But we're still using Metropolis, we're still using these characters, and
that's
this is the thing. It's fine in a vacuum, but I'm sick of it. Just do the goddamn hero show. I don't want a show set before Superman. I don't want a show set after Superman. I want a goddamn Superman show. Is that so hard? Is it so difficult? Is it so difficult to do that?
It's not, but I have no problem with this. I'm down for it, other than the part that it was from people who made Gotham.
What do you mean you know it's going to be trash?
Yeah,
it's going to be garbage. Because you've seen
up until that piece of information, I like it.
You've seen them do like what they do with the prequel, because this was originally pitched at Fox to be a companion show to Gotham.
Of course it was.
Right? And they've been. I haven't watched it past like episode 4 or 5. Now some people seem to like how crazy it is. Like I couldn't get past Balloon Man. Like I bowed out at that point. And I saw pictures of like young Bruce Wayne in his GIMP mask earlier this year.
This is the thing of that. I feel like this should be inherently better than Gotham. They haven't got that bollocks to contend with. There's none of that shit going on in theory.
Yeah, but how many fringe science things can Lois and Lex encounter before Superman's arrival means nothing because they've seen too much crazy stuff?
It depends if it goes a bit more serialized than it implies there. It's one thing that they're kind of focusing in on.
See, I'm not saying there's not potential for this to be good, right? I'm not saying that the potential doesn't exist. It is. But honestly, I've seen enough of this prequel shit that I don't trust it. I am expecting garbage until proven otherwise with this.
I am, but not based on being a prequel. That I have no problem with.
I'm sick of prequels. Prequels suck. Stop doing prequels. I'm serious. Like, movies and TV shows, they're obsessed with doing prequels, and it's like, they usually suck. They usually feel forced. They usually feel like they're drawing things out and like making everything that wasn't really supposed to be important feel important. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of prequels. I'm sick of this prequel culture, especially with superheroes and TV shows where this is the third Superman prequel show, right? We're actually going to be at a point now. If either this or Krypton get renewed and there's like a few seasons of them, we're going to have more live action prequel material for Superman than actual Superman.
I get that. I get that's a complaint, but it really doesn't bother me. It really doesn't.
This is going to suck. I will be shocked if this doesn't suck.
It probably is, but not inherently because it's a prequel, in my opinion.
No, not inherently because it's a prequel. That could still potentially be good. This is a two-pronged hatred coming from me right now. One is that I am sick of just avoiding actually doing Superman. They're doing everything in their power to avoid actually just doing Superman. It is infuriating. Supergirl's had a few episodes with Superman in it, and it's been the most Superman TV show we've had in, like, decades.
Yeah.
Right? And then the second thing, of course, is the fact that it's coming from people who did Gotham. So I know what to expect quality-wise.
Yeah, no. That is a very true thing. Why are they allowed more things?
I don't know. I mean, Gotham actually does quite well on Fox, which makes me wonder...
Yeah, I know, but stop letting them play with the toys.
This is super disappointing. I can't believe this is the next live-action show they announced. I mean, I'm glad they're announcing more stuff, that they've got more content that they're going to roll through. Yeah. Like, I'm glad for that. Especially since I was saying early on that I think they have to kind of always have a live-action thing on. And this kind of sounds like, oh, this might be ready by the time... Because they're only just shooting Titans now. We're not launching the service until the end of the year, so... Like, you know, this conceivably should be ready to go right after Titans. But, I mean...
I really just don't feel as strongly about this as you. Sorry.
I'm sick to death of it. Stop doing, like, no one's going to be confused if there's a Superman in a movie and a TV show, right? Same with Batman. Like, do you know how much I would kill for a good Batman TV show? Because here's the thing, superheroes, if money was no object, right? Superheroes would actually always be better suited to the TV shows. Because they've got so many villains, they've got ongoing things and plot threads that it would just be better on a TV show. In an ideal world, if you had good people writing it and so on. Batman could be a great TV show. 13-episode season of Batman, you got your year 1, have the origin and have all that stuff. Year 2, introduce the Joker. Season 3, maybe, that's when Harvey Dent turns and so on. Season 4, bring in the Riddler as the main season villain. Like, you've got all these things. You could do all of it. It'd be great. But they're determined not to. So instead we get Gotham, where weird versions of all the villains exist before Batman's even halfway through puberty. And
I don't think he's even hit puberty yet.
And I think he has by now. He hadn't when the show started, but it's on season 4 now, so I assume he has to have done now.
Maybe, yeah.
That's how age works.
No, I get that. I can't remember how old he was in the first place, though.
He was like 12, I think.
Okay.
11, 12. So, yeah, I think he's like 15 now.
Really? Okay.
I think so.
Time is a thing.
Oh, no. I am...
Well, this is the thing. I get that complaint of stop doing the showing all their villains before they get there and waste them, but I'm not looking at this as it's not quite a Superman show. I'm looking at this as going, no, I want a show on Lois Lane, or I want a show on Lex Luthor. That is the stuff that I'm like, oh, I really want that. I want that equally as much as I want a Superman show. I want a good one of those, of course, not from the people who did Gotham.
I don't know if I do want them as much as separate things. I'd rather they be great characters in a good ongoing Superman show.
That's fair enough.
Because, I mean, if let's say this is successful, they renew it, it gets 5 years, 5 seasons or more, like, like, we're going to get to a point where if they want to continue the show, it's going to start to get ridiculous, like how old they're all going to start being before Superman appears. No,
that's fair. I think it depends, how old you cast, because... I mean, how young are they going with Lois, especially? I feel like Lex can get away with being a bit older.
Yeah, they can't go too young with her, though, because she's meant to be working at Daily Planet already.
Yeah, no, that's true. But is she just starting at the Daily Planet?
She may not be. She might be, like, trying to get a job in this. They didn't actually mention she was working there.
I mean, she could be, early 20s.
There's this obsession with just not doing the goddamn heroes, and it's bugging the shit out of me.
It just, I get it why it annoys you, but the only characters that it really affects are Batman and Superman, and I get that they're the two tentpoles, but it just doesn't bother me as much because I've got other superhero shows to fill the superhero.
Oh,
things.
Sure, but if this was the first time, I wouldn't be complaining. The fact that this is the third time and two of them are like your one's about to start, and then this one's announced. Well, that's not even started airing its first season. Like, stop it! It bugs the shit out of me. I am assuming this is going to be garbage until proven otherwise.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm getting in with a negative outlook, and I know I shouldn't, but I can't muster anything for this.
That's fair based on the Gotham connections. That's why you're going with a negative outlook. But I feel like you keep going, it's like, Krypton's coming. I'm like, yeah, but they're so completely different shows, this and Krypton, by the sounds of it, that I could watch both of them, and they shouldn't feel similar in any way. So I shouldn't feel any fatigue from it of, this is not Superman. It shouldn't be there because of how different they should be in theory.
It's not really about fatigue, though.
Okay, it was sounding like you're fatigued of not having Superman.
Well, yeah, but it's not really fatigued by what the shows are themselves. Even though I do think they're both going to have similar trappings. I mean, Krypton's sounding insane with all its time travel shit, which is the most interesting thing about it. But I still feel like there'll be a lot of foreshadowing, hints and winks, and all that terrible stuff.
I mean, we'll see soon enough on that one. Another month or so.
99.9% of prequels are garbage. Better Call Saul's...
That is a bold statement.
Better Call Saul's fantastic, but prequels in general suck. Unless it doesn't matter they're a prequel. People will bring up Temple of Doom. Yeah, but it doesn't actually matter it's set before the first movie. No one really notices or cares. It doesn't affect the plot.
Still counts though, doesn't it?
No. It doesn't.
How does it not?
Because it's not doing this thing after the fact where everything has to tie into what's in the first one. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I didn't even know it was set before the first movie until I read about it afterwards. When I watched it, it didn't even occur to me.
I mean, you could say the same about Krypton. Assuming it never addresses... assuming it never really goes into, okay, no, this has to happen. This is all the way things are going to be.
No, bullshit. You only care what's going on because you care about Superman.
I don't buy that at all. I dispute that entirely.
This would not exist if Superman wasn't a property people cared about.
Right, okay, no. If I told you it was, any other name, right, it doesn't matter. I said, this is on a planet, this is the plot, this is, okay, we've got these characters, we're going to have some time travel stuff. I would be into that.
Yeah, but if they didn't call it Krypton, and if it was just another alien show somewhere else, that'd be fine. But it's not, because they're going to be shoving that emblem down your face. You're going to be seeing it all over the place. They're all going to be wearing it on their clothes.
The emblem, but that's about it. Hopefully.
Hopefully, that is naive. I can't believe I'm the cynical one here, and you're the optimistic one, because you're usually the cynical asshole. I am not on this. This is no.
I just really don't have the same problem with prequels that you do. Clearly. I don't hate them with a passion.
They suck. It's all about hinting at things that we didn't need backstory for. And yeah, there's nothing to say in theory that we couldn't just get a good story about Superman's grandfather on Krypton, and the show might end up being good. But I don't know.
That's the same thing with Metropolis. To swing this back around to the actual story here.
Again, no, I agree. There's no reason why it shouldn't be good in theory if it's just a well-written show about investigative stuff. And Lex doing mad science things behind the scenes. There's no reason why that can't be good. But you know for a fact that they are going to be cock-teasing every single thing we know about Superman without Superman himself. It's going to be, this person's going to eventually become, Metallo.
I only have that cynicism because of it being from Gotham people, and I've seen them do exactly that for the last, 3 or 4 years.
No, to be fair, Gotham's not the first to be guilty of it. Smallville did the same thing.
No, Smallville did the same. Yeah.
So I have zero reason to be optimistic about this.
Yeah, fair enough.
Absolutely zero.
I just want my Lois Lane show.
I'm not against having a Lois Lane show per se, but I don't necessarily need it away separately from Superman. If that makes sense.
Yeah, see, I'm the person who bought and read the Young Lois Lane novels, so yeah, there we go.
I mean, I love Lois Lane, but I feel like if you want to focus on like the Daily Planet as the TV show, and Superman's just kind of a thing that exists, kind of like Gotham Central, where Batman's in the city, but you never really see him. The difference being with the Daily Planet though is that Clark Kent has to be around, so we're still going to see him in some form and a lot of the time. But
so what you want is Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
With modern effects, yes. Basically, yeah.
That's what you're saying.
I'll take that. Or I'll take them when they're older and they've got a kid maybe to sort of mirror the comics right now or something. I don't know, whatever. But like I'm not against like taking some sort of like side thing from one of the comic characters and like making it its own thing and developing it. I'm not against that in essence. I feel like there's this trend to keep not doing doing everything around Superman but not actually doing Superman, and it is mind-boggling to me to have a third one that has a very similar name as well, because they're all named after like the place.
Yeah,
where,
I know.
So I don't know, and obviously it does tie to Gotham because Gotham's called Gotham, and that, just thematically in that sense.
Screw that show.
I'll move on, but let it be known. Let it be known. This is going to suck. Mark my words.
It probably will. I'm agreeing.
Mark my words. So, next up. So this is also juicy. This was last minute. This just kind of popped up. This next one. We were talking about this last week or the week before. J.J. Abrams' new sci-fi show. There was bidders try to like nab it. HBO have nabbed it and they've ordered it straight to series.
Oh, good. They can pump some hard cash into it and make it look great.
It's called Demimonde, which I did look up as a French word, and it basically means a woman of like a lower, like, so basically a woman on the fringe of society who's kind of been ostracized. Like they're not really seen as a proper part of the group, if you will.
Yeah.
Moving a cat. So HBO have got it, they ordered it straight to series. We don't really know any more about the actual plot than we did last time. Described as an epic and intimate sci-fi fantasy drama that deals with the world's battle against a monstrous, oppressive force. Abrams will write the pilot at least, so he's involved in as much in this seemingly as he was in the start of Fringe or Lost, by the looks of it, which is exciting. But this has HBO money, so that'll be very interesting to see.
We have cash this time.
I know very little about it, but I'm excited.
Yeah. I don't love J.J. Abrams as much as you do. I'm always like, yeah, it's solid. So I
wouldn't say I love J.J. Abrams though.
Would you not?
I'd say I love the shows he spawned, but I wouldn't necessarily, because he doesn't stick around and actually.
No, he doesn't. Of course not.
Finish them or anything like that. And his movies are, hit and miss. I mean, they're not bad, but they're decent to good, depending on which one it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, I would say I love J.J. Abrams.
Oh, okay. I just assumed you did like him more than that.
No, he's solid, but he's not. I don't necessarily get excited for his movies per se. I tend to get excited for things he's tangentially involved with, but not actually the one doing the whole thing.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I think I'll be more excited once I know who else is involved. By that logic.
Yeah. I mean, who knows who's going to bring on to run it, but he typically does a pretty reasonable job at finding these people.
No, that's fair.
Because he did, I believe he helped produce. Did he produce Westworld as well?
I don't recall that. I mean, I'm not saying
he
he didn't, but I don't remember seeing his logo anywhere.
Not his logo, but I feel like it was like, I think I remember the initial like stories being Jonathan Nolan producing with J.J. Abrams. I feel like I remember that in my head, but I could be.
Honestly, that was so long ago. I don't know. You might be right. You might have just pulled that out your ass.
I might have done. But no, either way. I'm into it. I'm looking forward to. I always like obviously more sci-fi TV, but good sci-fi TV on HBO does not sound like a bad thing. And obviously with Game of Thrones ending, they're looking for potentially big new things that they can.
So have something to fill that slot. Oh, we did hear a bit more on when we can expect that. Maisie Williams led slip. That it's sounding like April.
Oh, for Thrones.
Yeah.
All right. I don't care.
Not this. Not this April. Again, obviously not this April. They're planning on shooting till December, and then at least on the information that she is working on at the minute is they're airing in April.
Okay. But hey, so we'll move on to other things. So Michael Haneke, who's a director, German director, he directed a bunch of different films. He directed a film called Cash, or the English title was Hidden, if I remember correctly. But it was very good. But it was a very quiet thriller, very kind of slow, very deliberately paced, occasionally quite violent when it kind of hit its moments, which is especially effective because it didn't have like a lot of violence up until that point, and then all of a sudden it was like woofed, like, you know, hitting you in the face with it. But he's typically done movies. He did a movie called The White Ribbon. He's done some pretty notable stuff that, you know, is, you know, got awards and things like that. But I think The White Ribbon was at least nominated for Best Foreign Film at the Oscars the year it came out.
If not won.
But he is actually working on his first ever TV show. He is going to be involved in a 10-part series called Kelvin's Book, which is coming from a German company, UFA Fiction, although it will be in English. It's going to be an English language show. So it's, obviously they're hoping to pimp it out internationally to everywhere.
Yeah.
The high concept series tells the story of a group of young people in a dystopian near future who, during a flight, are forced to make an emergency landing outside of their home and are confronted with the actual fate of their home country for the first time.
Okay. Doesn't sound too bad.
Go on, give me more than that.
I mean, it sounds... There's not that much to go on there, is there, really? It's quite simple. I'm going, okay, I could see this being enjoyable. Play the mystery, and... Wow, that was loud. Nearly deafened me.
The cats are chasing each other.
Yeah. The bloody bastards. No, I think this show, it sounds pretty good. Like, it's like, okay, there's an idea here. We've got something to set up, something to go with. But it's hard to get too excited beyond the talent attached, which I have no personal experience with.
I do. I'm actually excited by this because I'm actually wondering how his style, which again is very quiet, it's very... Like, there's no music in Cash.
Right.
Like, I feel like there was like zero music the entire time. It was a very slow, quiet, slow building tension of a film. Like, that's very much what it was. And I'm curious to see how that translates to a 10-episode show, especially one that's in a dystopia, which obviously excites me just in concept because I like sci-fi. Yeah. But no, I think this could be very interesting. I feel like this might end up being like a bit of a sleeper gem, if you will.
No, that's fair.
So no, Kelvin's Book could be interesting. And as always, apologies if I was butchering his name because I might be mispronouncing his last name. That's simple. I mean, hell, even Michael I might be butchering, given that he's from another country. That may be pronounced completely differently somewhere else. But no, I think that's one to keep an eye on as it goes. So next up we have Gork the Teenage Dragon.
I'm in.
The Gotham group has optioned the rights to it. It is based on a novel, and by Gabe Hudson is the writer, and it's getting developed as a TV show. Gorp Gorp. I love this. I love the Gorp the Teenage Dragon. It's such a fun thing to say. There's no Teenage Turtles, admittedly. I could be doing a live action Teenage Turtles show would be pretty good.
It should be pretty good, but they'd probably make them look stupid.
Do it like the original movie, and I'll be happy. The book was published just last year, actually, in 2017. So this is one of these things where it's just came out and they're already kind of, you know, the producers are all getting their claws on it and be like, yeah, we want to make something out of this. So it focuses on Gork, a lovable dragon at the War Wings Military Academy, who has a gigantic heart, 2-inch horns, and an occasional problem with fainting. Cats, will you shut up? You're I'm trying to read here, which is, you know, it doesn't go well at the best of times, and you're distracting me. So yeah, he's got occasional problem with fainting. He's about to embark on the most important mission of his life. On the eve of his high school graduation, he must ask a female dragon to be his queen. If she says yes, they'll go off to conquer a foreign planet together. If she says no, Gork will become a slave. Gork encounters an unforgettable cast of friends and foes in his quest to find a mate, including Dr. Terrible, the mad scientist, Fribby, a robot dragon obsessed with death, and Metheldra, a healer specialising in acupuncture with swords. But it's Gork's biggest perceived weakness, his huge heart, which will guide him through his most epic quest and help him reach his ultimate destination, planet Earth.
I love everything about that. Sounds delightful.
I mean, this is probably going to be animated, right?
I assume so.
It's all dragons. Like, I feel like this is going to be animated.
Oh my god, if it wasn't.
Gork, the teenage dragon. So, I mean, the whole Find and Love thing at this first, I wasn't against it, but I wasn't super into it. When it started mentioning Dr. Terrible, a mad scientist, and so on, I was like, and a robot dragon. I'm like, okay, right, we're hitting some notes that I'm caring about here.
Yeah.
So no, good stuff. So we'll move on. Fabric Entertainment is working with Andy Serkis and Jonathan Cavendish's the Imaginarium, which is their company, and they're producing a series based on a best-selling book by author Dr. Oliver Sacks. Sacks, who died in 2015 at 82, was a humanist, a passionate explorer of the human consciousness, and arguably the most famous doctor of modern times. He dedicated his life to studying the strangest and most mind-boggling brain disorders of the world. His book Awakenings, which they might call the show, they might not. You know what it's like. Was also made into I don't know if this is the same book, actually. It's unclear. But the Awakenings was made into a movie in 1990 starring Robert De Niro and Robin Williams. So his work's been translated before. In the series, Sacks' experiences will provide an entry point for the audience to explore the deeply personal and sometimes contentious relationships between doctors and patients. Viewers will discern the poignant reality that these patients' disorders are intimately connected to everything that makes up who they are. An amalgamation of all their hopes, joys, fears, and traumas. The show will feature unique cinematic imagery, allowing audiences to enter the highly subjective points of view of characters who glimpse into a world that at times can be harshly seem imaginable. Though a nuanced and dazzling exploration of the human mind, this adaptation intends to elevate itself beyond the typical medical drama. That was a very long description that didn't say a whole lot
it was
about the plot.
Ultimately is okay, so it's a medical drama.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say at the very least, saying that it's going to have, like, what was the phrase? The cinematic parts, the unique cinematic imagery, like that's the part. I'm like, okay, right, so maybe this will be a really, really stylized show. Maybe they're going to like, maybe this will be the legion of like just regular medical conditions.
Yeah, could be. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did chuckle to myself, but it said, "Oh, the most famous doctor." I'm like, never heard of him. Have you?
No, I have not. No.
No.
I have not heard of Mr. Sacks, or Dr. Sacks, I should say. Apologies.
Yes, don't insult the man.
I've just insulted the man. I've ignored his doctorate.
I'll be turning in his grave.
But yeah, I mean, if it's got a style, then sure. But yeah, it could just be a boring old medical drama. But it's the same usual thing. No, but it's not attached to a network or anything yet. So who knows? Maybe if it ends up somewhere that's not a network, like a regular network, maybe I'll have a bit more going for it.
Yeah, maybe. I think cable will at least go, okay, they're not going to try and refine and filter in the unique cinematic experiences. But even that, I don't know if that's enough to get me really interested in it at this stage at least. Maybe I'll see it and go, okay, I really want to watch this.
Well, again, it's just it's the sort of thing where if it's just a really good drama, if the writing and directing are just that good, it doesn't matter like what the premise was really. At least to a point. I mean, there's some premises maybe that just like no matter what they do with it, you're just going to be bored out your head. But next up, Blumhouse Television is developing a show called You Bury Me. With Lexi Alexander and Scott Derrickson. Scott Derrickson, I'm not so hot on. Lexi Alexander did direct some episodes of like various TV shows. She did one episode of Supergirl. She did Punisher Warzone, which I know people like. I've never seen it though.
People be weird.
People say it's the one good Punisher movie, which is weird because I think it's the direct-to-video one that happened like after everything else. But
people say it's the one that's better than the others. I don't know if they say it's good.
I think they do. Okay. But yeah, You Bury Me is taking place. Filming's taking place Oh, sorry. The story takes place in Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. It is billed as an epic love story set against the political turmoil in the Middle East. Alexander serves as writer and will executive produce along with Derrickson. So, not a whole lot to go on. Not a whole lot there that really excites me.
No, me either.
So, you know. But it's the thing. It doesn't sound like a horror movie or horror TV show, which I expected from Blumhouse. I read Blumhouse and went, oh,
and then,
horror TV show.
Yeah, and then you got disappointed as you went through it.
Pretty much. So, that's that. Right. Network pilots.
Oh, there we go.
That's what we're on now.
Into the inherently less interesting stuff.
Not necessarily.
Usually, anyway.
I mean, we have, we've got a big batch of CW pilots first, and they can sometimes have a few interesting things trickled in. First up, remember they were going to do a Roswell reboot? Well, that's been ordered to pilot. Although, interestingly, they refer to it as the Untitled Roswell Project. So they may not actually call it Roswell. At which point, why we even just...
Because it'll be Roswell : something.
That'll suck.
Probably, but they want the name in it, don't they?
Well, you can have Roswell in the name and have it be a longer name, but I feel like TV shows should never have a colon in the title. Never. Ever.
I'm trying to think of any examples, but I'm
the only thing I'll accept with that is maybe if they actually name each season. So it'll be like the show title, colon, and then what the season's called. If they do that, okay, I'll accept that. But they should never have a colon in a regular title.
I didn't expect you to feel so strongly about colons.
It just looks stupid. I don't get it. It's just clunky. Don't do that.
Well, I like colons. They're a strong form of punctuation.
If you have a subtitle, but TV shows shouldn't have subtitles. They're just a title.
I mean, yeah. But you get more descriptive with your title with a colon, don't you?
You know I don't like descriptive titles.
All right, but you could get unique with a colon.
I mean, you could, but it's just clunkier.
Well, that's fair.
What would you call it? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something witty, and nothing's coming to mind.
You can't think of something witty? Oh, I'm shocked.
Not to do with Roswell, I can't.
The Roswell Project will follow the daughter of undocumented immigrants who reluctantly return to her tourist trap hometown of Roswell, New Mexico. There she discovers the shocking truth about her teenage crush, who is now a police officer. He's an alien who has kept his unearthly abilities hidden his entire life. She protects his secret as the two reconnect and begin to investigate his origins. But when a violent attack and long-standing government cover-up point to a greater alien presence on Earth, the politics of fear and hatred threaten to expose him and destroy their deepening romance. Of course there's romance.
Of course there is.
I wouldn't agree. What's interesting for me, I mean, I said this when we first talked about it, I don't remember how descriptive it was. I remember it mentioning immigrants, but I don't remember if it was that detailed in terms of the plot. I think it was.
I remember the cop.
Okay, but the original show was all high school students. You know, they were going for the whole, hit television show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of feel.
Very good.
I think that was completely fair, that one. But this is obviously aged up, where, one's a cop, so...
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll do something interesting. I mean, I think aliens are cool, like, if you want to, play some Area 51 things going on, like, Roswell actually has an alien sort of history.
It's definitely playing into one of the, the themes of the season with immigration.
It is, it's doing that, because we joked about that when it was announced.
I don't think we've had that many of them actually ordered yet, beyond just, like the initial stuff.
Yeah. That's because, easy to get something by with aliens. It makes it all much more palatable for the audience. Next up, they've ordered a pilot for a high school football drama called Spencer, which is inspired by the life of pro football player Spencer Passenger. And it follows a rising high school football player from South Central LA who is recruited to play for Beverly Hills High.
Never heard of him, don't give a shit.
The only notable thing about it is that Greg Berlanti is one of the producers.
It's not enough to make me care.
It's not, but I mean, it's worth mentioning because he's taken over TV.
Because he owns half of network TV now.
Next up, they've ordered a pilot for In the Dark, about a flawed and irreverent blind woman who is the only witness to the murder of her drug-dealing friend. After the police dismiss her story, she sets out with her dog, Pretzel. Yeah, Pretzel's an okay name for a dog. There you go.
Depends on the type of dog.
To find the killer while also managing her colourful dating life and the job she hates at Breaking Blind. The guide dog school owned by her overprotective parents. Breaking Blind.
Yeah.
They named their guide dog school after Breaking Bad. I equally approve and cringe at that title.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how I feel. I'm conflicted.
Hey, well, lucky they didn't call the show that, because they could have. They could have said, we're calling this Breaking Blind.
They could have done, but they know they're opening themselves up then.
Imagine if it was called Breaking Blind and the first episode was literally her getting blinded. Like, that was the pilot, was like the blinding happening.
Oh, that'd be a ballsy move.
And then someone at the hospital bed's like, well, all of a sudden you're breaking blind? What?
Now that, yeah, you talk about there's the cringy things in the superhero prequels.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That tops them all.
That said, though, you will laugh, though, if someone throws Gatorade at her head and then just says, Gatorade me, bitch.
I will, yeah, you're right, I will.
It's just not a terrible sounding pilot. It sounds, I mean, maybe they can do some interesting things with your protagonist being blind and she's trying to investigate things with, just her dog. I assume she gets some allies that can help her suss things out.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing that sounds fine, but I think it's the sort of thing where on network TV, I don't really feel like I want to waste my time on it.
Yeah. Next up, I'm glad they've ordered this one. I remember being excited by this premise when they were announcing this as in development. It's called The End of the World as We Know It. Do you remember what the plot of this is? The title was there before. It's not like they've just titled it.
No, I remember the title, but I don't recall which one this was. No, but I feel like as soon as you start talking, I'm gonna go, oh, that one.
When a prison spaceship carrying the universe's most deadly aliens crashes in Southern California, two young women with bigger dreams than working at a kid's pizza place in the valley are recruited by a space cop to hunt down the escaped criminals who have camouflaged themselves as eccentric Angelinos. I remember getting to that word the first time I actually read this description.
Yeah, I remember that,
like, oh yeah, that just means you're from Los Angeles. Okay, cool. And Rob Thomas is among the producers, which is promising.
Yeah, no, I remember this one.
Excited? You happy?
Yeah, it sounds fun. Wacky, and I hope they play up the aliens as, okay, no, they're disguised and they're over the top and just go insane with it.
Next up, CW's ordered a pilot for a drama called Skinny Dip. I can tell you right now, they're not on the right network for this show. They should be on something with nudity. But it's based on a novel by the same name by Carl Hiaasen. After her husband tries to kill her on what she thought was a romantic cruise to celebrate their second wedding anniversary, a woman teams with a jaded ex-cop to exact her own twisted revenge on her cheating spouse and winds up uncovering a wider conspiracy in the process. So that starts off as like any typical revenge movie where, he tries to kill his wife and she like...
And then it becomes a Fox show.
But it's on the CW.
Yeah.
But it's the wider conspiracy that's getting me. Like, how does him try to kill her because he's got an affair and he wants to be with the other woman? Like, how does that lead to a larger conspiracy? I don't know. But maybe the affair is just a cover and it's actually because he was ordered by his evil secret lab scientist boss because they're experimenting.
You might find out.
Maybe we will. I think I hope the title ends up having a double meaning, because right now it just sounds like he tries to drown her, hence the title Skinny Dip. But that's just the pilot. I feel like the Skinny Dip has to have a double meaning for the rest of the show.
It does, yeah.
When we find out what's actually going on. That'd be my hope. And then finally, the last CW pilot of the week, a lot of them, is a drama called Playing Dead. Is described as a dysfunctional family dramedy about a mortician and his son whose lives are turned upside down when the woman who abandoned them 15 years ago returns and asks them to fake her death.
Like the title, don't really care about the show.
I don't know, sounds like it could be amusing.
It could. I mean, sure. It didn't grab me.
Okay. I feel like you are making up for my negativity on the Superman story by just poo-pooing every single other thing we've had since then. Well, almost all of them, not all of them. Obviously, the Dragon one and then the End of the World as we know it. You quite like those, but everything else has been, it's on network TV.
No, this isn't even that. It's not anything to do with being on network TV. I don't know. Nothing about it is making me go, oh, I want to watch that.
Well, let's move over to Fox. Let's see if we find anything for you here. Let's see if there's any buddy cop shows too.
That is the thing. Fox lives and dies on what the partner in the buddy cop is.
Now, we only have 2 shows here from Fox, so let's see what we get. The first one is an untitled legal drama.
Okay, I don't. This one's I'm not going to care about.
From David Elliott and Danny Strong, who, by the way, did you know he played Jonathan on the hit television
you've already
show
done it. No,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Shut up. You've already had your thing. You took an easy route out. You don't get the actual reference now, especially not with him, because he shows up every 3 weeks.
He played Jonathan on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It is a one-hour drama set in the wrongful conviction law firm, led by a fierce and female lawyer with hunger for justice. Sounds like Batman. With a hunger for justice, whose motivation comes from an infamous past. In quotations, so she's got a mysterious past. The legal team within the firm reopens the investigations, putting their own lives in danger to exonerate the innocent that were proven, again in quotations, were proven, guilty.
I don't care. I'm still fixated on some of the wording of that. It's, you know, the fierce and female lawyer. Wouldn't it just be a fierce female lawyer?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's weird. Yeah, and why is fierce and female lawyer? As if like females,
like a character trait.
Yeah, like a describer. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it would just be a fierce female lawyer. Like this made no sense. I'm not gonna lie, I got really fixated on that, and then kind of just tuned in and out.
It's almost like lawyers aren't human beings, so they have to point out that this one's female, and then
hey, look, this one's a person,
and this lawyer monster feeds on justice. That's what they eat. They eat justice. The next Fox show we got a pilot order for is called Gone Baby Gone. I don't think it's got anything to do with the movie, but that title that Ben Affleck directed. But it's based on a book by Dennis Lehane. It's written by it's written by Robert Levine. The untitled one-hour drama centers on a pair of private detectives. Which
one of them's the weird one?
Patrick Kenzie and Angela Gennaro, who are armed with their wits, their street knowledge, and their undeniable chemistry, as they work to right the wrongs that the law can't in the working-class Boston borough of Dorchester. That does not sound like Boston.
Dorchester.
So it's not that one of them's something, it's just that they both go off book. It sounds like they both go off,
It's not even a twist to this one. It's, they kind of have a thing for each other.
That and they right the wrongs the law can't, so that they go off,
Alright, so they're vigilantes.
Aye. Well, I don't know if they're full. It sounds like they'll break the rules. They don't play by the rules.
Yeah, I feel like there's a reason you have a good cop and a bad cop in most pairings. You have one that's going to go, oh no, we're going to do this. Should we? There's a reason that works. I feel like if I've got 2 of them doing it, why do I need 2 characters?
To be fair, they don't often have. Well, they actually mention they're going to have beloved interests. They just said they had chemistry. That's different.
It is, but
I mean, they'll probably be love interest. I'm not saying they won't be. But
am I wrong to read into that? Really? They've got chemistry.
That doesn't happen too often on a buddy cop show between the buddy cops.
It doesn't. Which is why I'm going, is that the twist?
I guess it is.
Yeah. I don't know. This is the least interesting buddy cop thing they've given us in a while.
Next up, NBC, who only have one pilot down here, so they're sole and alone this week on the dramas. But they have ordered The Gilded Age, and it's coming from Downton Abbey creator Gillian Fellows. So you got people involved, if you happen to care about that. They've actually ordered this for 10 episodes. This is not a pilot order, this is a series order. It's going to come out in 2019. The Gilded Age in 1880s New York City was a period of immense social upheaval, of huge fortunes made and lost, and of palaces that spanned the length of Fifth Avenue. In the series, Marion Brooks is the wide-eyed young scion of a conservative family who will embark on infiltrating the wealthy neighbouring family dominated by ruthless railroad tycoon George Russell, his rakish and available son Larry, and his ambitious wife Bertha, whose new money is a barrier to acceptance by the Astor and Vanderbilt set.
Bertha is such an 1800s name.
It is. Is it any surprise the person behind Downton Abbey is doing a period piece for the next
Oh, really?
thing?
It makes no surprise to me as well that you snap that up. From a network perspective, you're going, hey, that was a huge hit.
I thought you meant me there. Before you said from a network perspective, I was like, well, why am I stepping? I don't want to do it.
No, I realised how it sounded and clarified immediately. Like, I get, from a business side of things, I get why, hey, that guy did a hugely successful and popular period piece, and he's got another one on him. Yeah, all right, we'll take that.
Yeah,
it makes it, when you go, all right, 10 episodes here, just do it.
And much like Downton Abbey, I will never watch an episode of this, and I'll be
pretty much
happier for it. Thank you very much. So next up, we're moving over to ABC. They've got a bunch of pilots. First up, an untitled drama exploring the lives of 5 African-American sisters, all of whom are officers in the NYPD, as they face the challenges of their high-risk jobs while juggling the responsibilities of marriage, motherhood, and family.
That sounds like a personal and professional life to me.
It does kind of sound like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not drinking, so you can't take a drink.
I'm not, no. But it's there. I'm drinking in spirit.
It's a buddy cop show, but there's 5 of them, and they're all sisters.
Yeah, basically.
Well, actually, they're not. They're all sisters, yeah.
Yeah, you said that. That was like the first thing you said.
No, in my mind I thought, was it sisters, or was it just family members?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So there may have been, mother's a cop and, 2 daughters or whatever.
No, I get you.
Cousins and I don't know. Anyway, but no, they're all sisters. So, okay. Next up, we have a pilot order for ABC for Whiskey Cavalier. Do you remember this one? Remember the title, surely?
I do remember the title. It sticks out. I don't know which one it was.
It's a high-octane, hour-long action dramedy that follows the adventures of tough but tender. I was going to say bartender there. Tough but tender FBI super agent Will Chase, codename Whiskey Cavalier, who, following an emotional breakup, is assigned to work with badass CIA operative Francesca Frankie Throwbridge, codename Fiery Tribune. Together, they lead an interagency team of flawed, funny, heroic spies who periodically save the world and each other while navigating the rocky roads of friendship, romance, and office politics. That's professional and personal lives at the end there.
It is. It is. Do you know what? In some ways, this sounds like this could be just stupid enough to be fun.
It does. It does. It could also be tedious to get through. It's hard to tell.
You tell me those code names. You want to lean into that side of things? I'm there.
I'll say this, so far, I think we will check out the Roswell pilot. We'll check out End of the World as We Know It, for sure. Yeah. And we'll probably check out the pilot of this. At the very least. Maybe a couple other ones that I'm blanking on. But those
I feel like if I see a trailer for this and it's all about the romance,
sure.
It's all about, will they, won't they, between the 2 characters here, I might say we'll pass.
But, yeah, I think there's a few pilots here that we're into, so...
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, so next up, ABC ordered a pilot for The Fix. It tells the story of Maya Travis, a former prosecutor... legal drama. After losing the biggest case of her life.
I like how you hadn't even realised that yet, and then you can see the moment you went, oh shit, it's one of these. Enthusiasm just dropped.
After losing the biggest case of her life, has left Los Angeles for a quiet life in rural Oregon. 8 years after her devastating defeat, the murderer strikes again, forcing Maya to return to Los Angeles to confront him one more time. Will she play by the rules, or will she do whatever it takes to get him behind bars? Part legal thriller, part confessional, part revenge fantasy. Always riveting. Oh, thanks for that. I'm glad you told us that at the end. Okay, it's not as much of a legal drama as is that implied at the start.
No, but the vanity of any show that has to say always riveting. If you have to tell me that, it's probably not.
I almost want to do the pilot just so we can just open the video. Hey everyone, welcome to Almost Cancelled. We're going to talk about The Fix, episode 1, season 1, blah 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 blah. What did we think? What did I think? It wasn't always riveting. That's us, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Go like, subscribe, all the
Yeah.
I almost want to just do that.
Like you tell me the things in your description to be facts.
Honestly,
I shouldn't be able to disprove your description.
The only reason why I won't do that joke is because by the time it comes out, no one will remember the setup in this episode to actually get the joke, so it'll be pointless. But that's why I said it now and didn't actually save it
You thought of it. You wanted people to know that it was in your mind.
Yeah. That's basically it. Next up, ABC pilot. It's called Safe Harbor. Chronicles the colourful, complicated lives of cops on and off the beat as we follow them harrowing and emotional and often humorous situations. That tells us absolutely nothing. It's a cop show. they have personal and professional lives. That's all we know.
Yeah.
That's all we know.
They told us personal and professional lives before they told us anything else.
Safe Harbor implies to me that there's like a... It almost is more like a sitcom where it's like a cop bar. But, you know, it's like Cheers, but it's all cops who go there for Safe Harbor.
That's a good name for a cop bar.
Yeah, Safe Harbor. That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the ABC again, they've ordered Staties. That's a weird word. Stays. The show follows hard-charging NYPD detective Eliza Cortez. Okay, this is grammatically incorrect. This is not me. This is not me. I'll read exactly what it says. The show follows hard-charging NYPD detective Eliza Cortez is banished to the boonies after that's wrong, right?
It's missing the word who.
Yeah.
Who is banished.
Yeah. As long as it's not me, right? That's all I'm saying.
No, you're right. They missed a word.
She's banished to the boonies after a high-profile mistake and is paired with a new partner, Oregon State Trooper Sam King. So it's a buddy cop show, but one of them's a state trooper, which is not that interesting, really.
It's really not.
I guess statey is a slang term for a state trooper.
Must be. Never heard of it myself, but
yeah.
Sure.
Next up, ABC again. It's called A Million Little Things. The show follows a group of friends who, for different reasons and different ways, are all stuck in their lives. But when one of them dies unexpectedly, it's just a wake-up call the others need to finally start living. So it's basically just a regular group of friends drama. Just the enticing incident at the start is just one of them dies. So they're like, oh shit, we're wasting our lives. We better start actually doing things.
We better be friends.
Sounds more like a sitcom idea to me, but hey.
It does. Yeah.
Whatever. Alright, so that's ABC, which takes us on to CBS. So we're in the last stretch, because we have a CBS. If there is CBS, sometimes there's not CBS to do. The first thing they've ordered is the pilot for their Magnum PI reboot. What is described as an updated version of the original series that follows Thomas Magnum, a decorated ex-Navy SEAL who, upon returning home to Hawaii from Afghanistan, repurposes his military skills to become a private investigator. Do you know what
the most disappointing thing about this
is that they had another version that sounded better, like a year ago.
The daughter one, right?
Yeah, because I remember specifically joking about the daughter having a mustache as well.
Yes,
yeah.
It's still in my mind. Her with the Tom Selleck mustache.
That sounds boring as shit. Like, I feel like, what is Magnum PI without the 80s charm? And Tom Selleck.
I mean, just look at what's going on with MacGyver right now, and you've got your answer.
Oh, that's a good point. If Magnum PI does not have a mustache, then
what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah, I agree. Next up, speaking of reboots, they've ordered a pilot for Cagney and Lacey, which will follow the titular female police detectives and friends as they keep the streets of LA safe. The original show ran for 7 seasons, from 1982 to 1988 on CBS. It also spawned 4 made-for-TV movies in the 90s. So, never watched Cagney and Lacey, but again, I have to imagine without the 80s charm, it'll end up being MacGyver.
Be another cop show.
Yeah. And then finally, the final news story of the week. CBS have ordered a pilot titled Chiefs. And I remember this actually from when it was in development, but it didn't have a title. I'm actually disappointed the title is simply Chiefs. It's boring as shit. The project explores the professional and personal lives
up front with this one.
Of 3 driven, successful, but very different women who are all each chiefs of police in their own precincts in LA County. Because I remember sitting trying to think of, what's a plain words for, 3 female police chiefs, and we couldn't do it. And apparently now I could do, because they call it Chiefs.
We shouldn't have expected any more from CBS, though, should we?
Well, this is the same network who had a show called SEAL Team, and we it was like, the description was, it's a SEAL Team, and we said, maybe they'll think of a way of having the acronym of SEAL stand for something else that, is relevant to the show.
More interesting, yeah.
Or something like that. And they just called it SEAL Team. Boring as shit.
Yep.
But that's the news this week. Obviously, some interesting pilots in there. We got the Superman show was interesting to talk about. I don't know if it was an interesting concept in and of itself. And then we had that Abrams Sci show at HBO. So yeah, there's some big things this week, which are exciting. But that does lead us on to picking what our favourite episode of TV was of the week.
It's kind of easy this week because we only watched 3 things, right?
Well,
we watched Shield, Counterpart, and Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, well, because we're doing this a day earlier, I've not had time to watch the CW shows yet. So Because obviously, if you don't know, we review them in a podcast at the end of the week called Television for the Multiverse. I've not watched them yet, so I don't even have them in contention this week. So it is counterpart Star Trek or
Shield.
Shield.
So it's Shield.
Yeah. I think there's an argument to be made for counterpart, but Shield.
Counterpart was good, but I feel like Shield was better.
That's fair. Shield has the emotional investment. Shield has a lot going on for it. So
yeah, and Star Trek was a very enjoyable episode while I was watching it, to a very specific point, and then it's like, okay,
that is literally a specific point. Yeah, nice. Star Trek Discovery was weak. This was a weak episode this week. Mainly because it kind of squandered a lot of what the season's been building up to, and it was not as bad as the previous episode, but these last couple have been very disappointing for reasons. If you've been following our reviews, you'll obviously know that in depth. But so yeah, Shield for me as well. Then it's a Shield. Oh, Counterpart was good. I think Counterpart was just a nudge. It was just a little bit better than the first episode. It gave just a little bit more emotion to things that were going on. Still has some pacing issues, but
yeah. I think that's the thing that makes Shield the easier choice for me, is that Counterpart, I can distinctly go, there was pacing issues, whereas Shield, I'm like, okay, it's harder to go, that's a problem with that episode.
No, that's true. So that is us. That does this week's news. So let us know what you think of any of the news that we brought up this week. I feel like there's going to be some people telling me I'm wrong about the Superman show, but you know what?
I mean, I did. So, well, I mean, I told you were wrong in your reasoning, not wrong in your actual.
Yeah, but I had the same reason as you as well. I just had more reasons as well on top of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Your reasons are perfectly valid. There's more reasons. So yeah, so let us know what you think of any of these stories and stuff. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/mailandfuzztv. There'll be a link in the description. But that is us. And remember, of course, we also do a movie news show. You typically get that about a day after this one, where we go through the week's trailers, obviously talk about the new movies that are in development, and so on and so forth, and anything else that's interesting that pops up. So, yeah, so thank you once again for listening or watching, and we always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?